What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Cookie DAO today. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, you guys, and let's get into it, all right? It's the 14th of May today. I had the idea to do something different today with Cookie DAO, something that we normally do with Onyx Coin or I've done with various other cryptos. We haven't really done it with Cookie because for Cookie, there is no Cookie to BTC, right? So comparing Cookie to BTC is, I think, very important. With TradingView, whenever you compare Cookie to BTC, this is how you would do it, right? But for some reason, there's this weird thing that TradingView does where whenever the little one goes ahead of the big one, you get a chart. It says it's in log, but it's not in log. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it. It messes with the system for TradingView here. Whenever you take that same thing, instead of doing it Cookie to Bitcoin, if you do Bitcoin to Cookie, it actually takes it to where it is in log. It's actually in log right now. But now, instead of it being Cookie to Bitcoin, being that it's Bitcoin to Cookie, what we want to see, if we want to see Cookie perform well, we want to see this chart go down. We want Bitcoin to lose value versus Cookie DAO, implying that Cookie is outperforming Bitcoin, which it likely will. It has been its whole life. Lower lows, lower highs. This is a good, sorry, a good bearish trend. I just ate some peanuts. Anyone who eats peanuts, you know what I mean, man. Sometimes they just choke you out. Lower highs, lower lows. This is exactly what you want to see. Now the expectation would be that if we take this low here, from this low to this high, we did see the minimum extended target being hit, which is the 1272. You even reached for the 1414, but you fell shy of that. If we expect the same thing here, and I think that we do, from a low to a high, we anticipate that this price could achieve a 62,000 Bitcoins per one. Wait, sorry, I'm sorry, 62,000 cookies per one Bitcoin. I think that we could at least at a minimum see this. And what I want to do is I want to plug this in to what my expectations are for Bitcoin and see if we can't get something that agrees with what my expectations are for Cookie. As of now, my expectations are that at a minimum, we stop at $1.65. At a maximum, we stop at $2.90. My expectation is we'll stop somewhere closer to $2.34, something probably just above the 1414. That's my expectation at the moment, which should provide from the current price something on the lines of like a 13x, maybe a 14x, maybe more than that, something in that area, okay? All assuming that we stop at the 1272, which I doubt we do. I would bet that we go lower, but let's just start there and build from there, okay? So how we do this now, because it's a little different, we have to do it through dividing. Instead of how I normally do it, we do it by multiplying, right? We would take, like here, XTN, BTC, this chart. Whenever we plug in where we think we're going to go, we just plug in that number and then we multiply it by the Bitcoin price and boom, there we go. But because we've got it here, we've got to divide it. We've got to divide the Bitcoin price by this. So my expectation is Bitcoin at a minimum sees $160,000. 160,000, 1, 2, 3, divided by what the expected outcome would be here, which is at least $62,000. Let's just say that, or 62,000 cookies. This should give you the price, the perceived outcome for Cookie at what I would expect to be the minimum standard. Okay, this would be the minimum by doing the math versus Bitcoin, by doing the math on what we expect Bitcoin to do, putting that together. This should give us an accurate representation of where Cookie should be priced at by the end of this run at the end of June. 258. 258 is about right. 258. Right above the 1414. That sounds about right to me. And what's great about this, what's great about that sounding right, I was hoping that we get something above $2. That's just the minimum standard. That's the minimum. What if Bitcoin, what if Bitcoin's worth 170K? What if it's worth 180K? Does that make it better? Let me see. Hold on. 180, 1, 2, 3. Or does that make it worse? Divided by 62,000. Okay, no, it makes it better. It does. It makes it better. Okay. Sorry, division's weird for me. I always do it backwards in my head for some reason. I don't know why that is. Ever since I learned calculus, and it's been a while since I've done calculus, but ever since then, I feel like division's been backwards for me. I don't know why. It like messed up my arithmetic. But anyways, minimum target, right? That's the minimum target. From a low to a high last time, you didn't stop at your minimum target. You actually went through it a little bit. Let's play this game of pretend and see what happens if we go through it a little bit more. What if we do hit the 1-4-1-4 here? This is a smaller range than this one was. It's actually easier to penetrate through these extended areas. What if we do? Hell, what if we even go to the golden ratio? We're going to figure all this out real quick, okay? And let's draw this in a nice straight line and see if we can get something that makes sense, right? I mean, by the end of June, hello, end of June right there, 1-4-1-4. Early July right there, 1-4-1-4. Probably not going to go to the golden ratio. We can throw that out the window. What's 45,000 get us? We take that same number, 160, 1, 2, 3, 160K, divide it by 45. I'll do 45.3, $45.3 thousand right there. That should give us a price above $3. I'm thinking it's got to be something. 353. 353 is a suitable target right there. Cookie to USDT 389 is the 1618, the golden ratio. And the great thing about this is that with the 1-4-1-4 here, oftentimes you do, with the 1-4-1-4, you do wick a little bit below it and then pull back up and find support there. You might wick a little bit below this line, and if you were to wick a little bit below that line, that should pump this number up a little bit more, which might give it enough oomph for Cookie to see $3.90 or somewhere near that as a potential target, right? I'm not saying that this is the maximum outcome. We could see something larger, but to see something larger would require that Cookie DAO breaks out of this downtrend that's in, right? It breaks below this downtrend line, which who knows if it's going to respect it or not, but it kind of does look like you're in a falling wedge, just to be fair. And sometimes you do respect these lines. We're going to take it a step further. But I like seeing that these areas, they are, whenever we're concocting them based on the Bitcoin price and what the Bitcoin to Cookie price would be, it is coming out to areas that are very similar to what we would see in our fibs here. What would 180K be? 180, 1, 2, 3, divided by what? What was it? Anybody? You got it? What is it? 45, 300. That was a joke. There's nobody here. I was just seeing if any of you would respond. 45, 300. 180K, 45,300. That's right. 397. Okay, so yeah, that works too, right? What if Cookie tops off at the same time as Bitcoin? Then that actually works. And if Bitcoin tops off at 180K, that would match for this 1618 area. All right, let's get crazy now. Let's get real crazy. Let's say 28,760. Yeah, just 28,000. Let's do 28,800. Okay, we'll do 160 again. 28,800. Is that what I said? 28,800. Yes. And that number is $5.55. So at the most, if we're being crazy with ourselves, Cookie DAO might see 555. I don't think we're going to see 555, you guys. Call me crazy, but it's not too common to go over your 1618, right? If you do, oftentimes you hit the 1886, and I just don't know if we can logically make sense out of that. I mean, maybe you do. I'm not saying you can't. You've got a low market cap, man. $100 million is a low market cap to work with. You can grow a lot in a very short amount of time, but you know, the 1618 to 1414 area seems to be the most likely zone to go to. And that makes sense to me. You know, looking at Cookie DAO here from a high to a low there, we went just below the 1618 last time. We've got enough parameters set up that agree with the that agree with the logic that we could see something in this area again, maybe just below the 1618, maybe just above it, maybe just above the 1414, but something certainly at least there, right? I would expect that we do at least see that from here. That would imply that Cookie has a, you know, something on the lines of probably like a 14x at a minimum to a 21x at the maximum. And I do mean minimum, because not even the minimum projection wasn't even below $2.50, right? What was that minimum projection, just based off of the math here? Where are we at? All the way back at the start. $2.58, right? $2.58 right there. So that would be about, and it probably would be a little bit higher, because I don't think Bitcoin tops at 160K. So probably something on the lines of a 14x or more. Crazy, crazy stuff, guys. And we're here now at 18.8 cents. I don't really know if I have anything else that I want to say. I'll save the usual TA stuff for tomorrow. Just understand that I think we are on the precipice of breaking out of this, and we're going to see some glorious upside. I don't think that we're going to break out to the downside. I don't believe this is an M pattern. I think that this is a great time to buy Cookie DAO. I just wanted to do some number crunching with you. If you had fun, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves, and bye-bye. If you don't understand this video, if none of that made sense, and if it doesn't make sense, you're probably not here. But just understand what we did there was essentially something we haven't done before with Cookie, at least. We took our projections on the fibs, laid them out, and then we did the math in accordance to what the Bitcoin price versus Cookie price was. That's this chart. We plugged it into what the perceived price of Bitcoin will be in the future. If Bitcoin achieves this area, and I think it will achieve this area, what price would Cookie be? Where would it grow? Would it grow to this area? And the answer is yes. It would grow. It would go right into this zone here, right at the upper end of the zone, which is exactly what we're looking for. That's exactly right. When you run these numbers, if they come up with numbers that are far superior or far lesser, that can be a little bit of an indicator that you might have your hopes set in the wrong direction, right? It's nice whenever they agree, but yeah, that's kind of the whole point. So I got nothing else for you guys. Thank you all for being here. Hit the like button, subscribe. Bye bye. Take care.